Yo, what's going on, everybody? This is Dylan Talk Sports. My name is Dylan. In this video, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be reacting to the NBA All-Star rosters, kind of going through every single player that was announced for the Eastern Conference and the Western Conference, giving my opinion on do I think there was a good pick, bad pick. We're going to talk about the starters. We're going to talk about if all the players in the starters are deserving of starters, and if there was anybody like that in the reserves that should have been starters, and anybody that were starters that I'm thinking, they're a good player. They definitely deserve to be an All-Star, but probably more on the reserve side, and this player in the reserve could have been swapped to be a starter. Because I'm not going to lie, there's maybe one or two from both conferences that I could have very well seen this player being a starter, and these players that are starters could have been a reserve. And we're also going to talk about, at the very end, a few players that I thought should have been all-stars, because there were some snubs. I'm not going to lie, there was a few snubs that players should have been all-stars, and I can't believe they didn't make it. So without further ado, I'm going to get straight onto this. If you're going to enjoy it, as always, make sure you go and drop a like on today's video. Be very much appreciated if you do so. But without further ado, let's get into it. All right, before we go any further, I'm going to put the link down in the description down below to all the All-Star roster players. Basically, everything that I see right here is going to be down in the description, the very first link down there. So if you want to go check it out for yourself, like I said, feel free to do so. If you don't want to watch along with me and you want to just go check out the All-Star selectees for yourself, feel free to do so. I was going to kind of go just all Eastern Conference and all Western Conference, but we're going to kind of just go one at a time, back and forth the whole entire way down, I think. First up, we got Giannis Antetokounmpo. Very well deserved. Obviously a starter, no questions asked. Him being the captain, I think is deserving. The thing with him being the starter is you kind of have to look at it as who's the best player in the conference, and also who's like the most famous is usually how they try to do it. And Giannis is probably the one most deserving, because you kind of thought maybe they gave it to Joel when KD was in the Eastern Conference, and when LeBron jumped over to the West, they were doing KD and LeBron. But now the KD's back over in the West, it's kind of like, yeah, now it's Giannis's turn. LeBron James, do I need to say more? The guy is amazing. He's obviously probably the greatest of all time, or second greatest of all time behind Michael Jordan. The guy's always going to be an all-star, always going to be a starter, and obviously the captain because he's probably the most famous player in the NBA. Next up, we got Joel Embiid. Very well deserved. The guy might actually miss the All-Star game because he has a torn meniscus in his knee, so he might have to sit out this game. We'll see who gets to take his starting spot, if that does happen. The guy's averaging 35 points per game. Now, there is a little bit of controversy about him missing a lot of games, and I understand that. I already made a video kind of talking about that. But when you look at the numbers, 35 points per game, 5 assists per game, 11 rebounds per game. The guy's playing out of his mind. He obviously deserves to be a starter. Moving over to the West, we got Luka Doncic. Nothing really to say there. The guy is probably the next great player in the league. 35 points per game, 9 assists, almost averaging a triple-double. It's pretty fucking nuts. We got Tyrese Halliburton, the new offensive juggernaut in the league. Very well deserved to be a starter. I kind of thought he would probably be a reserve, but when he got announced as a starter, it's like, I kind of see it. Kevin Durant, very well deserved. Obviously an all-star starter, yes. Probably up there with LeBron as being one of the most famous players in the league. I think nowadays with the All-Star game, it's become a popularity contest, and as long as you're popular, you're going to get the votes. We got Damian Lillard, great player. When he left Portland, I pretty much said this guy's going to turn into like the next great thing once he gets with Milwaukee, because now he's going to get more publicity because he's going to be able to be in the playoffs more often. With Portland, they were making the playoffs. They were winning maybe a series, not really doing much, but with Milwaukee, they got the chance to do some great ass things over there. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, this is the one that's kind of funny for me. I agree he should be an all-star. I agree in some ways that he deserves to be a starter. It's just the fact of, we'll get into it in a second, they left off somebody else from the starter roster that is kind of hurting, and the fact that he is the one I would probably take off in order to get this other player on the roster. The last starter in the East, we have Jason Tatum. Very well deserved. The guy is playing out of his mind. He always is. I'm not going to lie. And then when it comes over to the Western Conference, we got Nikola Jokic. Very well deserved. Obviously a starter. Now getting over to the Eastern Conference of reserves, we're going to kind of go one by one with these, I think. Going down the list, we got Bam Adebayo. Very well deserved. A great center. He's going to... the thing with him is he always plays good. It's just he's a very underrated player. You don't really hear his name talked about a lot. So when people kind of see like him getting voted into the All-Star game, it's like, really? Why? It's because he's just not talked about that much. He just does what he needs to do to win the games and gets out of there. I mean, 20 points per game, 10 rebounds a game. Like, he's just getting the job done at an elite level. Paolo Banchero, first All-Star selection. Congratulations. He well-deserved. The guy's playing amazing. Jaylen Brown earned his roster spot. I would have been fucking shocked if he didn't become an All-Star. Even, like, the fact that he's a reserve, and I think they're currently the highest paid player in the league. What, 6-year, $300 million contract? Or 5 years, $300 million contract? How the fuck do you barely make the All-Star team? Jalen Brunson, I think this is his first All-Star selection. Well-deserved. The guy's playing amazing. Very well-deserved to be in the All-Star game. Tyrese Maxey is one that I see a lot of people saying, like, how the fuck this guy make the All-Star team? And I see why he made it, because he's playing great. Like, the casuals are going to be the ones saying he doesn't deserve to be in there. I think he's playing good. I've watched him play. He plays really well. And people are now saying, like, oh, he's only there because Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid hasn't been out there on the court for the past couple of games at the time of recording this, and Maxi's still putting up 20, 30 points a game. I think he just scored 50 points the other night, career high. So what do you got to say now? I think it was 51 points, and they won the game. So he's playing at an elite level, if you ask me. Next up, we got Donovan Mitchell. Do I need to say more? I'm a Cavs fan. The man should have been a starter, if you ask me, but I'll let that slide. But he's still in the All-Star game, even though it was a reserve. The thing that people need to realize is I think when you look at starters, you're going to be thinking, oh, these guys are going to be the main ones that are going to help this team win the game. When we get to the fourth quarter, it's crunch time. We got to go try to get some buckets. Most of the time, I guarantee you, maybe 2 players off of this are going to be still on the court when we get to the fourth quarter. You're going to see more reserves than you are starters on the court when you get to the fourth quarter. And last up, we got Julius Randle. I honestly don't think he's going to play. I think he's out for a few weeks now. I think with the shoulder injury or knee injury, correct me in the comments, but he's going to be out, so he's probably going to get switched out for somebody else. Going to the Western Conference, we got Devin Booker, very well deserved. I seen some people saying he could have been a starter. I understand that. Maybe you could have swapped him out with somebody, but like, who are you going to do? I wouldn't swap him out with Luka, not Kevin Durant. Maybe Shea, not LeBron, and not Jokic. So it's like, what are you supposed to do? Next up, we got Stephen Curry, and here's the one that I was talking about earlier. He should have been replaced with Shea. Shea, I understand why he got there. 31 points per game, 6 assists, 5 rebounds, excellent numbers. He's an all-star, very well deserved. But when it comes to Stephen fucking Curry, how the fuck how do you put guys like Braun, well-known, Jokic, well-known, Tatum, well-known, Damian Lillard, well-known, but then it's like right here. It almost just kind of throws it off. Like, I feel like if you would have put Curry here, everything else was perfect. Halliburton being there, that's a little bit funky. But like, I guess this is kind of like the funkiness that we're going to get in both conferences. You're going to get in Halliburton, you're going to get in Gilgeous-Alexander. Anthony Davis made it. Obviously, I understand why he made it. He's a great player, all-star caliber player. I'm not going to lie, he's having a little bit of an up and down year this year, which is why I probably wouldn't have voted for him. But if you want to call me a casual, call me a casual. I'm just being honest. I probably wouldn't have voted him in. Anthony Edwards, he's easily all-star. That man's going to be all-NBA by the time we get done with the season. I'm not going to lie. All-NBA, could be all defense for all we know. This dude is a dog. I'm going to say it now. I'm making a prediction. This boy's going to go out there. We see the All-Star game where it's like all these players, they just have their fun. They're just bouncing the ball around. They're just hoisting up half-court shots. He's going to be the one that doesn't fuck around. He's going to be the one driving to the rim and playing some defense from the fucking rip of the first quarter. Like the past 10, 15 years, we have seen like almost no defense in the All-Star game. Anthony Edwards, he's the one we're going to see some fucking defense coming from. Next up, we got Paul George, great player, obviously an All-Star. I kind of thought he's having like an okay year, but then when you look at his numbers and it's like, oh shit, this guy's actually playing pretty good. Okay, well deserved. Kawhi Leonard, nothing else to be said there. The guy is a dog. And Karl Anthony Towns, the cat, great player. Kind of like with Anthony Edwards. Cat's having a great season this year. He's kind of feeding off of what Anthony Edwards does. Anthony Edwards, like I said, he's having the great numbers, but they're also kind of feeding off of each other. Cat's getting his rebounds. He's getting his points. He had a 62 point per game or 62 point game a couple weeks ago, but they lost the game. That was a heartbreaker. Cat is well deserved to be an all-star. Now, real quickly, if I was going to go through and change anything in the rosters, here's what I would do. Like I said, I would probably take Shea, move him down into the reserve, and put Steph up into the starters. That would be my one swap I would 100% make. And then whenever it comes to the East, Julius Randle is probably going to get swapped out. Here's the thing I don't understand about the East or the All-Star, like the way the format works nowadays. Can you swap out a guard for a center, or like a forward for a guard or center, like any position for any position? Or does it have to be like, if you take a center out, you got to put another center in, or if you take a point guard out, you got to put another point guard in? Because if you could put anybody in, I would say take Julius Randle out and put Trae Young in, because he got snubbed hard as fuck. But if you can't do that, I'm not gonna lie, I don't really know who, like, drop some names in the comments of like some forwards and centers who got snubbed. Jared Allen from the Cavs, I know he got snubbed from being in there, but he's not really a forward like player. He's more just dominant center kind of player. And then my other change I would probably make in the East, I'm not gonna lie, I already said it. Halliburton, I see why he's a starter, but there's a part of me that wonders, could he have been swapped out for like one of these reserves? Maybe like you could have put like a Brunson. Should he have deserved to be a starter? Should like a Jaylen Brown have been the starter? Should like a Donovan Mitchell been a starter? Hell, I'm gonna say a hot take. Could Tyrese Maxey have been a starter? But if we can't make that change, I see why he's a starter, and I guess I can kind of leave that be. But ultimately, to kind of wrap it up, here's kind of what I'm gonna say about the rosters. I think we got 2 really good rosters. I kind of miss the old format of like the team captains being able to kind of pick the rosters, because nowadays it seems like every year we kind of like look at the East and look at the West. And it's like, man, the East is really strong and the West is kind of weak. But this one year, it's like, man, the West is really strong, but the East is kind of weak now. I like the team captain part, because it's like, you could look at it, be like, back whenever the Golden State Warriors were just dominating, we didn't just get, well, here we go, there's KD, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, Steph Curry, all from the Warriors, gonna be in the West Conference. No, Team LeBron and like Team Steph came along, and then we like started getting teams to where they had to like pick their players, players got kind of drafted around. We got like Steph going to play on LeBron's team 1 year. KD played on LeBron's team 1 year. It was made for a good kind of different flow of the All-Star game. But like I said, when it comes to those changes I would make for the All-Star game, Joel Embiid, if he's injured, he's going to have to come out. Julius Randle, he is injured, so he might have to come out. 2 players right there from the East are going to have to go in there. Tyrese Halliburton maybe could have been swapped for somebody else from the reserve to go be a starter. And then Steph Curry, he has to be a starter going up there to replace Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I would just do a quick little swap right there, and now everything else I think is perfect. But other than that, I think I'm going to wrap it up there. Hopefully you guys did go on to enjoy today's video. If you did enjoy, as always, make sure you go and drop a like on today's video. Be very much appreciated if you do so. If you wanted to watch the entirety of today's video, thank you very much. And like I said, if you wanted to check out the entire All-Star roster for yourself, the link will be down in the description. And if you, like I said, if you wanted to enjoy and you want to go ahead and leave your opinion on any of the All-Star roster spots down in the comment section down below, feel free to do so. Leave a comment down there. Like I said, if you think anybody got snubbed, do you think anybody should not have been an All-Star, should have been an All-Star, maybe an All-Star starter, should have been a reserve, that was a reserve that should have been a starter, leave your complete opinion down in the comment section down below. If you're a fan of the content that I do post here and you want to go and hit that big red subscribe button, feel free to do so, and do not forget to hit that little notification bell to be notified the second I post. But without further ado, this has been Don Talk Sports. Have a great day. Peace.